Hello everybody. So I've covered Enphase a lot on this channel, covered it more than 20 times. Enphase is my biggest pure play solar position, and my portfolio of course has changed over the years, and with Tesla going up and with Enphase kind of staying flat for 3 years, my positions right now are 24% Tesla, 4% Enphase. I'm very bullish on Enphase, but you bet that when my viewers tell me that Tesla is going to take over the solar market with Powerwall 3 and that Powerwall 3 is going to entirely kill Enphase, you bet that I actually get happy, because I'm not even counting solar as part of my Tesla thesis. You know, it's just icing on the cake for Tesla. Of course, it is Enphase's main business, and so that would be a bad thing for Enphase. But I think we are not analyzing this properly when we say that Tesla is going to take market from Enphase, because the way I look at it, I view the Tesla Powerwall as competing against the solution of SolarEdge. And I think the Tesla Powerwall is actually going to take business from SolarEdge and thru and SMA, and not necessarily going to take business away from Enphase, and that is because Enphase technology is deeply rooted in the belief of the microinverters, and this debate is still alive and strong about whether microinverters are a good idea or not. And I just want to say that we microinvert every day, everywhere, everything. Our phones, our laptops, our televisions, these all have inverters, because the power in our walls is AC, and the power in our devices, electronic devices mostly, it's all AC, DC, sorry, it's all DC. Even light bulbs are DC, it's all DC. So this inversion from AC to DC is something that we already do all the time, and we already lose efficiency doing that all the time. We're not converting our homes to DC anytime soon. That question was settled in the early 1900s. Now we have AC. Enphase is making the bet of the microinverter and the AC coupled system, and the view that the appliance, the solar panel, produces the electricity, and at the solar panel it should be turned into AC, and then if we have a battery, we should turn the AC to DC in order to charge that battery. That is the bet that they're making. And of course, the company that is not making that bet is SolarEdge. SolarEdge is competing head-to-head against Tesla with string technology, with string inverter technology, not Enphase. They're in a different situation, in a different space almost, is my way to look at it. So let me go back on the debate between microinverters and string inverters. And we've had in the comment section, we've had courteous debate, I hope, about string inverters and microinverters. And the jury, in my view, still has not decided. Frankly, I still view microinverters as a great solution for many situations. Let me go back to the history, to the early days. So back in the early days of solar, you'd wire, say, 12 panels in series, i.e. back to back, and on a sunny day, on a bright sunny day, you would have 10,000 watts. You know, I'm exaggerating, but close, right? You would have 10,000 watts cozily go through the roof and then go to your garage, and then boom, it would land in your SMA inverter or your thru inverter or your SolarEdge inverter, and boom, at the garage near the panel, you would transform, you would turn DC into AC, and AC is used in your home. And of course, this was great. You know, this was an industrial product. The inverter is an appliance. It's something that we've been making for a while. So this worked great. And then firefighters started pointing out a little issue. Firefighters started saying, well, wait a minute, if it's bright and sunny outside and you have 10,000 watt through the roof, we can't really intervene on your house. It's not safe. We can't put the fire out at your house if it's sunny outside, because you have DC power going to the garage straight at a very high wattage, so we can't do it. So in the early days, they would just let the houses burn, understandably, right? You don't want to hose down a roof with that much power on a sunny day. And so in order for them to intervene, they've started putting more codes everywhere saying that a shutoff needed to be implemented at the panel level. This was the solution of Enphase. Enphase got started during that era, and they say, well, we're going to have grid-tied shut-off panel at at the level of the panel. And so if the microinverter does not sense the grid because you've shut off the main panel, then the power does not invert at the panel level. At the panel level, you just have a shut off. Microinverters are naturally built in rapid shutdown. They are naturally built in shutoff. And of course, SolarEdge and the other players, they could not do this because they had the big bulky string inverter in the garage. They could not do this, so they started introducing optimizers, which today have mostly evolved into shutdown devices that still need to be installed below the panel in case there is a fire, in case there is a problem. So they've developed that, and they kept the string inverters, the old tech. They kept it into the garage, and so today you put one optimizer under each panel in the case of SolarEdge, and you still put one string inverter in the garage versus the Enphase solution where this is it. You just put one microinverter under each panel and you're done. You don't need to install a string inverter in the garage with microinverter tech. You do with string inverters, and it's very unfortunate for string inverters that optimizers also have to be installed under each panel. And what did Tesla choose as a solution? Well, it shows the string inverter way. Unfortunately for SolarEdge, it shows the quote-unquote optimizer way, but with the Tesla sauce, they did it a little bit different. They have these devices that they place every 3 panels. They place a Tesla rapid shutdown. That's following the solution from SolarEdge right here. And notice how this is mostly rapid shutdown because you're assuming that you're going to be using modern solar panels, which feature bypass diodes. So in the early days, microinverters also were great to deal with independent shadows. Today, modern panels can handle that. So today, we mostly care about microinverters because of the rapid shutdown system. Or you could add these boxes every 3 panel. You add one box at the power source to shut off the panel in case of a fire or an emergency of some kind. And so that's the Tesla strategy. The Tesla strategy is the Powerwall, which is a battery with an inverter in it. And of course, it has an inverter in it, obviously, because if you're going to be connecting to the grid, if you're going to be grid tied, you are going to need that string inverter anyways to connect AC into DC. So obviously, it would come with a string inverter in it at the level of the battery. But what they do a little different is Tesla kind of cut it in the middle, and they did a hybrid approach where the Powerwall 3 doesn't have a single string that connects to, say, 12 panels. They have now 6 strings, and these 6 strings, in addition to using modern panels with bypass diodes for shadows, those 6 strings also operate independently of each other. So shadows are most likely going to be dealt with in either solution nowadays. Worst case scenario in the Tesla system is you lose 1/6 of your panels that you've lost them. So if you have an installation with like 30 panels, you lose a lot of power. If you have a small installation, it's almost irrelevant. Either way, it's an elegant solution. This is an elegant solution of Tesla that they found to put this rapid shutdown and to kind of go the hybrid with 6 strings inside the battery. That's an elegant solution, but it still doesn't change the fact that you could entirely do away with battery, entirely not have a battery if you just turn DC into AC at the panel level and not have your battery sponsor the inverter. That makes some sense what I'm saying, right? So, and furthermore, of course, the problem is that at installation, you still need to set up these boxes under your panel. So you still got to put the rapid shutdown under your panel. So you still have that extra labor, which you have anyways when you install microinverters. This does not make a difference anymore. So, do you have to choose, and this is important, do you have to choose the Tesla Powerwall's embedded string inverter? No, you don't. That's my first point about why the Tesla Powerwall 3 is not going to kill Enphase. You can set up any AC coupled system. I'm looking at, say, Tigo, for example. You can set up any AC coupled system with a Powerwall 3. And so any competitor of Enphase, say in the microinverter business, you can set it up with a Powerwall 3. You can connect Enphase to the Powerwall free. So that's point number one. So if a buyer really wants the Tesla battery and they are compelled with microinverters, they can just connect Enphase to the Powerwall free. Now, I do agree that it would be a silly thing to do because you'd be essentially paying for an inverter only for turning the power from the grid into the battery and not the other way around. And so I agree it'd be a silly thing to do to buy an inverter and not use it for solar as well as using it for AC DC at the battery level. You could use it for both in the Tesla battery. That'd be a silly thing to do. You'd be essentially paying for a string inverter that you're not really using to its full potential. However, and this is important, how cheap is the current battery of Enphase compared to, and that's the old version of the battery, compared to the new Powerwall free. So let's talk about how cheap it is. So first of all, let me tell you about the 5P, the IQ battery 5P, which is their main battery that they have right now. So it is 6.1 kilowatt hours, not as good as the Powerwall, right? But it will still start a small AC system in a house, right? It will still start your washer or your dryer, provided you don't run it at the same time. It's still decent, that peak power for 30 seconds. But you know, you're not going to be able to power a big house for like hours. You're going to be powering that big house for, say, 20-30 minutes with that battery. The Powerwall is better, but it is unfair to compare this battery compared to the new next-gen battery that is coming from Enphase in 2025. Right now, Tesla has the better battery, yes. But let's look at the price. This battery right now, because we know that a new battery is coming, it's trending, according to Google, at about $3,200 for the battery here. That's the price of that battery. And then let's assume you do 12 panels. So if you were to do 12 panels, so you do 12 times and you use the latest panels, the IQ8, which is also aging. We're also waiting for the IQ9. So you would put an IQ8, which right now retail price goes for $166. So if you were a do-it-yourselfer and you wanted to buy these two pieces of equipment, you'd be at $5,195. Or, so you could pay that and get Enphase, or you could get, and I'll be the first one to say, you could get a better system, but pay $9,300. This is a better system. This is a better battery, right? It's got 13 kilowatt hour of storage. It's a better battery. It's a better system, but it's also significantly more expensive than Enphase, where Enphase you get the microinverters plus the battery. The cost of product, the cost of the goods is $5,100. You get this, and the cost is $9,300, right? And of course, it includes the string inverter, and it includes the battery, and the battery is significantly more powerful here than the Enphase version. But they're going to release that Enphase version next. They're gonna catch up. This is a dynamic market, so. Let's do more assumptions here. So let's assume that. So of course, the theoretical max for a Powerwall would be 57, the equivalent of 57 panels or 57 IQ8. And in that case, if you wanted to push this one to the max, you would need to buy $9,400 worth of microinverters at retail price. That would not be realistic. Installers would not set this up to the absolute max. What they would do is they would try to be more realistic. And your standard system in the US is 12 kilowatt hour. So they would likely do a 12 kilowatt hour system. And I think it's important to compare the price. So what would be the price of a 12 kilowatt hour system for Enphase? Well, it would be 12 kilowatt hour divided by 350 watt AC for the IQ8, and you take the retail price. So you're at 34 microinverters times 166. You're at $5,644 worth of microinverters, and so you have a delta here of $3,600, and I just said that the cost of the Enphase wall right now, the Enphase quote-unquote battery right now, is $3,200. So even if you were to have a large system, even if you were to max out and get a 12 kilowatt hour system, the savings that you would get from putting Enphase microinverters, those savings of $3,600, they would still pay for the current generation of Powerwall for Enphase, the IQ battery 5P. They would still pay for that. Of course, the battery would not be as good because the 5P is only 5 kilowatt hour and the Powerwall is 13. So the Powerwall would be still a better value, but that's not fair because we're comparing a brand new product to a product that hasn't changed for Enphase in a while. That will change and that promises to be introduced in early 2025, and that should be a great product. It is also not fair, and I want to emphasize that in another way, is the microinverter, by virtue of having virtually no moving parts, by virtue of being a consumer electronic. The microinverter has a 25-year warranty. And even the Enphase battery has a 15-year warranty, 15-year, 25-year. The Powerwall, you may ask, this new product only has a 10-year warranty for the Powerwall and for the solar inverter. So the microinverter warranty is 2.5 times higher, and the 5P is 50% better. So you don't get an exact comparison between the two products. The Enphase product still is more premium when it comes to the warranty. And like I said, I'm using the 5P, but I don't think it's fair to use the 5P. I think when they release the next generation of battery, you may get a situation where Enphase is, as usual, just a tad more expensive than the string inverter solution. Just a tad more expensive, but also a way better warranty. 25 years, you don't need to get on that roof anymore. So that's a powerful concept. And I also want to talk about something else, something more, which is what's going to happen of batteries? Are batteries going to become commodities? And I really believe that, because if you were to go for the cost savings, you would likely want to do the power conversion, perhaps at the panel level, perhaps in the garage with an inexpensive string inverter from, say, China. You might want to do that, but one aspect where people are going to want to save money a lot, so you may still want an IQ system with reliable microinverters, and you may treat your battery as a full commodity. And if you treat your battery as a commodity, and we're getting into the business of AC-coupled batteries, and there's a lot of them out there at much better price than Tesla by a long shot, right? Look at the EG4 Power Pro wall-mounted all-weather lithium battery. This is 14.3 kilowatt hour. So this is a whole kilowatt hour more than the Tesla Powerwall, and it's only $3,599. Right, and the Tesla Powerwall is 9,300. So with that delta 9,300 minus 3,599, if you want to have that battery, you can more than pay for enough microinverters. In fact, you can get all of the microinverters that you want and still have money to spare, right? And this is even cheaper on a per kilowatt hour if you look at some of the, well, not quite, but almost. If you look at some of the bigger system for bigger houses, you can have a utility closet where you put a system like this with rack batteries that can store a lot of power for these custom homes, these $1 million homes, more expensive homes. These are all over the internet. These battery walls are all over the internet. And my guess is that these, if you want to go for a cheap option, they will be much cheaper than either Enphase's version or Tesla's version. And lastly, I want to emphasize this. Batteries will be commodities, yes. Microinverters, they're part of your house. They're stuck to your roof. They are here to stay. It matters that they last 25 years because you're not going to send back someone out on your roof. They're here to stay. That's a powerful proposition. But down the road, when bidirectional charging is fully implemented and it's fully a thing, and when most people have at least one electric car in the household, if not two electric cars in the household, then in that situation, one small power backup, just like Enphase's the 5P battery, for example, that one power backup may be just enough, because you only need that power backup really to keep the fridge operational when the car is out of the house. And if you have two cars, you have that problem solved, because a car is about 75 kilowatt hour, roughly, is what you can store in energy in a car. So if you have two cars plugged in at all times at the house, well, that's the equivalent of 12 Powerwalls that are always plugged in at your house in the form of these cars. So I even see a market where, say, used car retain a lot of their value because of the cost of those batteries. So, you know, the expansion of the batteries, and I get everything about how the Powerwall can expand with a DC extender, and you can make a better, bigger battery. I think all of this is going to become less and less relevant whenever people switch to electric cars and they just have a car always plugged into the house. And really, you need a small battery for that power outage that is going on when you're at the grocery store. There's a power outage, and you have to go to the grocery store, and you need to make sure that your fridge and your freezer stays powered, and maybe your electronics. That can be done with the current Enphase 5P version of the battery. That can be done with any inexpensive battery, and in fact, that can also be done entirely without a battery. If you just have an electric car at night. Without a battery, you can power your whole house with Enphase. Without a battery, and what are the odds that your electric car is going to be in the driveway at night? Well, those odds are pretty high. So I think the battery is a medium-term story. There is no denying that Enphase does not have the best battery, but Enphase has never been my main reason. The battery business has never been my main reason for owning Enphase. I own Enphase because I believe that the microinverter is a very compelling technology. That's the reason why. 2 takeaways from this video. One takeaway is that, yes, Enphase needs to release its next-gen battery ASAP. And we know from various calls, we know that the battery will likely be 10 kilowatt-hour for Enphase, and it will be cost competitive. And so my guess is that you're going to have a similar price to Tesla and similar storage and similar capacity to Tesla, and it will be shipped, of course, with the Enphase microinverters inside that battery, just like all Enphase products. All Enphase products are shipped with microinverters because microinverters is so essential to the business model of Enphase. Microinverters is how Enphase scales. It's how it makes its money. It's how it scales. Fully automated manufacturing facilities, and it's also how it's going to collect the IRA subsidies for the next 10 years. Okay, costs should be competitive, and I think those systems will be roughly the same and very competitive in 2025 come the new battery. And I think right now, even if you keep the same Enphase battery, that doesn't necessarily mean everybody's going to go for the string inverter. That 25 warranty is very important to a lot of buyers. You know, a roof, you change it every 30 years, right? So if you're considering a solar system, don't underestimate the value of that warranty. And then I want to talk about the IQ9. Enphase is mostly still a microinverter play. And I place a lot of hope in the IQ9s. I think they are going to be a hit with gallium nitride. Those IQ9s, which will be released probably in 2025, hopefully early 2025, they will have a much greater AC output. And AC output is how you get those IRA subsidies, 11 cents per watt AC. So what if we have a mass market scalable IQ9 that's going to be releasing with 500 watt AC? That's $55 in subsidies, direct pay IRS, that Enphase is going to be getting for making these in the USA. Those subsidies will go a very long way, and my guess is that Enphase is going to be a very profitable company because let's remember, without the IRA benefit at the last call, they've told us their non-GAAP gross margin without IRA benefit were 41%. And per my calculation, they sell the current IQ8s at wholesale prices. They sell them for about $120 a piece. So their cost to produce, what that means is that their cost to produce the microinverter is probably $73. So you can see, imagine the IQ9, if you have a cost to produce that is, let's assume, lower because of scale, economies of scale, and because of volume, and because of gallium nitride. So let's assume you have a cost to produce that is lower than 73, and of course the subsidy. What if it's 500 watt? What if it's a 700 watt AC microinverter? Then you get $77 in IRA subsidies. Then you don't even need to do anything about your cost because your subsidies cover your cost to produce. these subsidies have been miscalculated for the first place, in the first place, and that's one of the big headwinds that Enphase has. It is also something that is forgotten. So, in conclusion, not everybody's going to want string inverters. Some people are going to prefer microinverters because of that warranty. That is an excellent warranty. Installers, if they put a string inverter, they still have to go up on the roof and install these rapid shutdown systems. So no matter what you do under the panel at the roof level, you got to put these devices. So again, that's in my view kind of a downside for, say, a string inverter system where you have to do both an inverter and a rapid shutdown under a panel. Microinverters, you just have to do the one step. And in the case of batteries are not the most compelling part of Enphase. At least this is not my reason why for buying Enphase. And if you want a custom system, if you want to mix and match, if you want to have, you know, like I said, a custom system that may be more cost competitive with, say, a Tesla, you can only do that by having your inversion be done elsewhere. And your inversion be done maybe with microinverters or maybe with some inexpensive Chinese string inverter. So I think Enphase is still the premium play, and I think this is an overreaction. But I'm very happy to see Tesla likely taking a lot of that string inverter market. A lot of the string inverter market is going to go to Tesla. So I'm covered with both stocks. Anyways, this was not financial advice, not investment advice, just entertainment. Hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.